All right, let's get right to tying this zonker. We're going to start off with some lead-free wraps, um, probably 10. mm, or 15, you know, whatever works. I could have easily gone with more. Kind of depends on how fast you're wanting to get this fly down. Could have easily gone with 15 or maybe even 20, but I think you get the idea. I'm going to get our black thread started here. I like to keep hold of this tag. It kind of helps uh, keep that thread from sinking in and kind of moving around that uh, lead-free wire. So until I get back here, then I can clip that out. And then we're just going to kind of get this all covered. So these zonkers, they work really good for me. This is a classic zonker, I guess I should say. Works really good for me in my local lakes for bass and bluegill and crappie. And this size 6, 3XL streamer hook is a great size when you maybe don't have super large bass in the lake. When I fish a lot, just in the city. So you got medium sized bass and some large bluegill. So this size 6, the bass will take it. A nice sized bluegill will also take it. So you can fish for multiple species at the same time. When I say medium-sized bass, I'm talking the largemouth might be, 18 inches or so. So it's not like you're talking about an 8-inch largemouth bass or something like that. They're plenty fun to fish for. So one thing with this fly is we want to make sure that our tie-in point back here, that we don't fall into the bend of the hook. If we do that, it's really going to mess up the look back here. So if anything, leave your tie-in point short of it. It's not going to affect the length and look of this fly at all. So this fly uses this mylar tubing. It can be a little bit interesting to work with. It likes to slip and slide around the hook, but we're going to kind of measure it so that these fibers come out just past the hook bend, and then we want to give ourselves a little bit of room to work with. So I like to snip off and just in front of where the hook eye would be. This stuff has I don't know if it's a cotton cord in it, so you kind of push that out, get that out of there, and go ahead and fray that back a little bit. And this is where we slide that on over everything. We want to work that through, get that, got some that are wanting to stick out around. I want to be able to get that so everything goes past that thread. And stays straight out the back of this fly. See there, that's wanting to spin on me a little bit. That's pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna try to hold on to everything. So with this, you could go with 140 denier. This is some A-dot thread that's pretty strong. So that's a good thread to use as well. I don't like having these be too large of bands where I tie in things. This is going to work pretty well here. Now you got a nice little mylar tail that's coming straight out. If you let this tie-in point move too far back on that bend, it's going to move that tail to where it's looking down. Now here's where you get to decide how much of tail you want. You can have that hide be right in line with that mylar tail or tag, or you can have it a little bit extra and get a little bit extra length. I kind of like it to be just slightly longer than that mylar tail. Here's where, to get a nice tie-in point, I like to Just lick my fingers, get those fibers wet. Do the same up front here. You can see how that hair will just kind of stay out of my way. Get a nice wrap around there. Make sure you're pulling down tight with these wraps and making sure that this is all staying on top of the hook. A couple of those mylar fibers that I'm most definitely going to trim out of the way. So then I like to just pull that Zonker strip back and get some wraps right in front of everything, right around the hook. I think that helps just get everything nice and secured. Okay, with all of those wraps tied in there, you got a couple options. You can either get a large whip finisher, because this one, it messes up with, it hits everything up here. Or you can just come in here with some UV resin. That's kind of what I like to do. Put a little drop there. Put a little bit on your thread. So you can come in here, just give a few more thread wraps. Go ahead and hit that with your UV light quick. And now your thread isn't going to go anywhere. You can come in here, trim that off nice and close. Like I said, that thread's not going to go anywhere. And then when we're all done, we'll come back and hit that again with some UV resin. So we got to be careful. This is really fraying out on us. So we got to just kind of see where that hook eye is. You can see it pretty well right here. So just gently come around. And then with a little bit more tension, wrap back on our thread. And because I was messing around so much with all of this, I got a lot of, there we go, just kind of wrap back there. We want a little bit of a thread head here for our eyes and whatnot, but since I did all this and this is all over the place, I'm just going to come in here, be careful of our thread, just trim this all back and away. Makes a mess of your tying desk. That's okay. Just try to trim these off nice and close. All right, let's see if this can make our thread head here. We got one that's a couple there on the bottom that are going to bug me. All right, there. Push them back a little bit. Should be able to trap all those back here. There, looks like That should be all of them. Get back a little way so we can get our Zonker strip tied down. Now the hair on this Zonker is kind of going all over the place right now. We want to make sure we have a nice Zonker wing. So again, I can just wet my fingers so that I know all this Zonker hair is all going in the correct direction. Keep that Zonker right on top. Some nice securing wraps right up here. Keep that Zonker strip right on top of everything. And then we can reach in here around the camera and all that good stuff. Our scissors. Trim this Zonker strip off semi-close. I like to leave a little bit of a tag like that so that the thread head, it's not going to crowd the eye, but I have a little bit more Zonker to grab onto here. I like to flatten out my thread with a counterclockwise spin and just work to cover up that. Now you will get that bit here. You have to kind of build up the thread head from the hook eye back. Stopping every so often, flatten that thread out. We're going to have to make a little bit. We're getting there. This front part of the thread head needs a little bit more bulk into it to finish that off. There we go. You can see got everything covered nicely. So now you can just come in here with your normal whip finish tool, put a nice 3 or 4 turn whip finish. Doesn't have to be anything too crazy because we are going to put eyes and a resin head on this thing. These eyes are so small, they are hard for me to get on without using a bodkin. And I don't get too worried about if they're pointing one way or the other because they are difficult to get on. It just gives a somewhat impression. It gives a somewhat impression of an eye. Seems to work good enough. You could even paint these on if you really wanted. I do try to get them somewhat lined up on each side. Once you have those eyes where you like them, I put a nice blob of the fly or the UV craft ultra thin resin. Get that on those eyes. I don't do a full coat yet, just so I have enough to where those eyes will not move around on me again, because they do like to move around with that initial coating. Now they shouldn't move around on me, and I can get a better coat of this UV Craft ultra thin UV resin. This is one time where I don't mind if I get a little bit thicker coating. the main thing. If you have a decent blob of this stuff on there, it is really thin, so just keep your fly moving around, and that will keep that blob really even. Then just cure it up. And then you have a classic Zonker fly. This thing, all these fibers are going to move a ton in the water. Really going to drive all the fish crazy, whether it's bass, panfish like bluegill and crappie, or trout. It's a great pattern to have if you're out streamer fishing. Thanks for watching.